The St. Vincent government defends its about turn on job offer made to wife of diplomat accused of domestic violence. That's our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Wednesday, January 3. From the CMC News Center in Bridgetown, I'm Nicole Best. Good evening. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines has withdrawn a job offer to the wife of a local diplomat who was at the center of a domestic violence incident in the United States late last year. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves confirmed at a news conference that the offer made to Zandra Marshall to be the Deputy Consul General at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Consulate in New York was no longer on the table, but he dismissed suggestions that she was being made a victim yet again following the domestic violence incident in New York late November, when it is alleged that her husband, Sion Marshall, the then Consular General, slapped her across the face. Gonsalves said the decision to withdraw the offer was informed by a number of matters which he declined to detail.
It was felt best for the Foreign Service, and in particular the Consulate, not to go through with the appointment. It's not she's not made a victim in that regard. That's a decision which the state took in relation to how it perceived the interests of the Foreign Service.
Gonsalves said Mrs. Marshall had been offered employment as Deputy Consul General by way of a cabinet decision, and unknown to him, she had spent a week at the office in New York prior to any paperwork being done and any official contract being signed. Still in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Prime Minister Gonsalves has defended his government's decision to financially support international airlines flying to the destination. He said it's a standard practice for countries in the region with international airports to provide varying degrees of market support for airlines.
That market support is to be provided, and that market support is a form of advertising. When you're having the plane come in and it's advertising itself, the destination is also advertised. And I had made the point that in the first 3 or 4 years of the airport operation, we have to do a capitalization of the airport itself. That's in addition to whatever market support you're giving to airlines. We have to make the asset work, Kenton.
Trade unions representing the public sector employees in Jamaica are warning of mass unrest in the coming weeks if government refuses to budge from its 6% wage increase offer. The Jamaica Civil Service Association, the Police Federation, Jamaica Teachers Association and Nurses Association of Jamaica have all rejected what government has put on the table. President of the Jamaica Confederation of Trade Unions, Helen Davies-White, says the offer amounts to a wage cut and that will not be accepted by the unions. She suggested that government's deal with the International Monetary Fund regarding its wage bill to GDP ratio will lead to unrest, and she has urged the Andrew Holness administration to review that agreement, which requires the wage bill to be no more than 9% of the amount of money the country earns each year. Meantime, Prime Minister Holness has responded to the Jamaica Police Federation's call for his intervention in the wage dispute, saying he has been having discussions with Finance Minister Audley Shaw and National Security Minister Robert Montague. But in a letter sent to the Federation yesterday, he also said the issue requires a much broader discussion with the Ministry of Finance, given the far-reaching implications. The Prime Minister said further consideration and advice will therefore be given to the Minister and his negotiating team at next Monday's Cabinet meeting. The Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly will soon face a no-confidence motion. Minority Leader Watson Duke plans to move the motion against Kelvin Charles, saying that after almost a year of him being in the position and $3 billion spent, Tobago has not seen any improvements in any sector. Patricia Nicholson of C News reports.
Watson Duke said Tobago has not changed for the better since Chief Secretary Kelvin Charles came into office. In fact, Mr. Duke told reporters at the weekly minority press conference that he thinks the island has regressed, and it's because of this he will be seeking to bring a motion of no confidence before the House.
Well, we have to first of all rectify when is the minority leader's time to lead the motion. It should have been this month if it is every quarter. However, it seems as if they press rewind and have started in January. So we'll have to verify that. However, as long as it takes, we would be mobilizing.
Mr. Duke said he will be calling on all villagers from all communities in Tobago to mobilize at James Park on that day.
We would be mobilizing. We'll be going by the highways, the byways, the river, the ravines, to mobilize the common man, the common woman, the educated, the undereducated, the fat, the slim, whoever may heed the call to come to James Park on that day, to bring traffic to a standstill on that day and let Trinidad know that we reject Kelvin Charles and his 13 little disciples.
Meanwhile, Minority Councillor Dr. Faith B. Israel said the THA executive has done nothing for Tobago's agriculture sector.
The silence of this PNM-led administration as it relates to the boat is so sickening, because this starving of Tobago is because of your failed agricultural policies on this island. And coupled with your failed agricultural policies, it is now multiplied by your failed inter-island transportation policies.
Guyana's main opposition, People's Progressive Party, is blasting the contract government made with oil giant ExxonMobil. Opposition leader Barrett Jagdeo says he believes the David Granger administration could have struck a better deal. The government disclosed the official contract with ExxonMobil last week. The opposition says its members were not invited, but they're happy they did not attend because it was nothing but a public relations stunt. We get more in this HGP Nightly News report.
Mr. Jagdeo contends that there is no full disclosure of the contract because the government still has lots of questions to answer.
So there is no full disclosure so far. We still don't know who negotiated this contract, what technical advice they had that's on the contract, who negotiated the bonus, how did it come to $18 million? How was it arrived at? What was the calculation? Was it given to them, as they said, to fight the Venezuela border case? Or ExxonMobil is now saying this signing bonus was for 10 years extension of the contract? They need to give answers to those questions.
Mr. Jagdeo noted that he understands that ExxonMobil has a priority to make profits, but noted that the Guyana government could have struck a better deal.
So when you compare what we got with what ExxonMobil is getting out of this contract, it seems as though the renegotiation worked significantly in their favor, not in our favor. And I've seen the manager said, the country manager said that Guyana gained more from renegotiation with ExxonMobil. That is Mr. Henson saying that, DPI statement. So he is saying the renegotiation gave more to Guyana. Of course, Mr. Henson's bosses are the shareholders of ExxonMobil. Our bosses as members of parliament are the people of Guyana. What do you expect Mr. Henson to say? That ExxonMobil gained more from renegotiation of the contract? Would you expect him to say that? He has a duty and an obligation to his shareholders.
In March 2020, ExxonMobil and its production partners are expected to begin bringing up oil from 17 wells offshore Guyana. The first phase of its operation will run for an estimated 20 years. At the end of it, it is calculated that Guyana will rake in $7 billion in revenue. There is no estimation of the profits ExxonMobil will make on the deal.
And still to come in Caribbean Newsline, a paradigm shift in documenting illegal immigrants in the Bahamas. We'll explain after the break. Stay with us.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh, look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Did you know that a strategy has been developed to help improve the region's education and human resources?
You didn't? Well, the HID strategy, as it is called, will guide CARICOM in how it delivers quality education and training to the people of the region.
The strategy has been crafted by a group of experts called the HRD Commission.
Consultations have been done across the region to get your input.
Do you know that none of us will be left behind?
The HRD strategy is important to all of us, students, parents, and employers. It will prepare the region, especially the youth, for the 21st century economy and society.
The HRD strategy, unlocking Caribbean human potential.
Grow your business or promote your event through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and CaribVision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today. We continue in the Bahamas. As the country's new immigration policy takes effect, the government is seeking to make a paradigm shift in documenting illegal immigrants. The launch of a new software will help authorities identify undocumented individuals through fingerprinting and footprints. Illegal immigrants on the island were given a deadline of December 31, 2017 to leave the country voluntarily or face aggressive pursuit and deportation. And in the aftermath of the deadline, Immigration Minister Brent Simonet says there are plans to make the penalties for those who break the law more stringent. Employers in the country have the remainder of this week to send all illegal employees home. Janine Noel Ferguson of ZNS Network News gives us some insight into the new policy in place.
Despite the December 31st deadline for all illegal migrants to be out of the country, many have taken the position that if I'm deported this week, I'll be back the next. It's a situation that Immigration Minister Brent Simonet says they plan on addressing.
We're going to look at that too, the whole question of fingerprinting. We're investigating also the question of footprints, because obviously footprints of persons at birth, and when the new computer system comes on track at immigration, we'll have handheld computers whereby you can check that. But if we start enforcing that, that will change.
As surveillance continues, immigration officers will soon conduct checks of residences and businesses, which the immigration minister was sure to note that the process will be conducted as humanely as possible.
We all forget years ago that they used to go out on a boat right out here that quite often broke down and they didn't have water and Pampers and a lot of other things for 3 or 4 days. So I think we've come a long way. So these persons are taken from the detention center to the airport, flown to their jurisdiction. So the arrests are done as humanely as possible. Apprehensions are done as humanely as possible. We've had a number from the Romy John issue where that went social media viral with Amnesty International. But from a Bahamian person or persons living in the Bahamas, not one person has commented. So I can't chase it down unless the public is prepared to tell me that they have witnessed a bad apprehension.
Simonet reported that while Haitian nationals make up the majority of deportations, accounting for 2,500 out of the 2,800 deported in May 2017, the immigration minister said no single entity is being targeted. He also sent this stern warning to business owners.
We talk about criminal sentences. A lot of people take this very lightly. But, you know, when you go to get your U.S. visa and you have a criminal record, we all know what happens. So I really implore the employers to make sure they take this seriously, because it will be a new issue. On another point we are looking at, and we probably will later on during this year, increase the penalties for employers hiring illegal immigrants.
A climate change center is to be set up in Grenada to provide certified training in climate change mitigation at the technical, vocational and professional levels. The center will be funded by the Green Climate Fund to the tune of $1 million, and its programs and courses will be accredited by internationally recognized education centers. This was one of the initiatives agreed upon between the government and representatives of the Green Climate Fund during a recent visit to review the island's readiness for direct access to funding. The construction of the center is to begin later this year. The fund will also provide $3 million in support to Grenada's national mitigation and adaptation plan to reduce vulnerability to climate change and promote increased use of renewable energy. It will include the development and implementation of 3 major investment programs to build resilience and promote investments in clean energy and energy efficiency in collaboration with the private sector. It is estimated that Grenada would need over $400 million Grenada would need over $400 million to invest in programs and activities aimed at building proper resilience and climate change. The Caribbean Broadcasting Union, CBU, is saying a sincere thank you to its international partners who came through with much needed support for 3 of the radio stations hardest hit by catastrophic hurricanes Irma and Maria last September. Despite suffering major damage and staff dislocation, Radio Anguilla, Radio Turks and Caicos and the Dominica Broadcasting Service kept transmitting during and after the devastation, fulfilling their mandate as public service broadcasters to provide life-saving information during emergencies. In the wake of each of the September 2017 catastrophic hurricanes, the CBU sought damage updates from its member stations in the affected countries and territories. The reports came in of wrecked transmitters, unusable studios and uninhabitable offices. And while many staff suffered destruction of their homes and other personal property, they continued to serve. The reports of the damage and loss suffered spurred a CBU appeal to sister broadcasters via the union's international partners, the World Broadcasting Unions and the Public Media Alliance. And the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and the British Broadcasting Corporation responded, assisting the 3 radio stations. And to those media companies, as well as the World Broadcasting Unions and the Public Media Alliance, CBU has said a big thank you. And ahead in Newsline Sport, World T20 champions West Indies surrender their 3-match series to New Zealand. Stay with us. Sport is next.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, The music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless. From cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Did you know that a strategy has been developed to help improve the region's education and human resources?
You didn't? Well, the HID strategy, as it is called, will guide CARICOM in how it delivers quality education and training to the people of the region.
The strategy has been crafted by a group of experts called the HRD Commission.
Consultations have been done across the region to get your input.
Do you know that none of us will be left behind?
The HRD strategy is important to all of us, students, parents, and employers. It will prepare the region, especially the youth, for the 21st century economy and society.
The HRD strategy, unlocking Caribbean human potential.
Come, sail with us through our ocean blues, where there's a blessed land that's waiting for you. Shh. Look, listen, feel. Realize your dream escape that's magically surreal. The best kept secret, a place you'll never forget, where adventure beckons with every gentle footstep. From lush mountain green to warm volcanic sand, submerged in splendor, our 32 enchanting islands. A kaleidoscope of experiences. No need to look anymore. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the Caribbean you're looking for.
Woeful West Indies ended their ill-fated tour of New Zealand in the same manner in which it started, plummeting to a heavy 119-run defeat in the third and final T20 International on Wednesday. Colin Munro's record-breaking third career T20I 100 of 104 was the catalyst behind the hosts' 243 for 5 off their 20 overs, their highest ever total in the shortest format. Fellow opener Martin Guptill stroked 30, that's 63, and Tom Bruce 23, ensuring the New Zealand maintained their momentum to gather the 7th highest total in T20s. Well, in reply, West Indies produced yet another dismal batting performance, collapsing to a depressing 124 all out in the 17th over. Only Andre Fletcher, with a polished 46 from 32 balls, showed any sense of purpose. He was one of only 3 frontline batsmen to reach double figures and the only one to pass 20. The Caribbean side's woes were compounded by the unavailability of Shea Hope, who injured his shoulder while fielding, and he was unable to bat. Not for the first time this tour, the Windies were tormented by Tim Southey, who took 3 wickets, and leg spinner Ish Sodhi claimed 2 wickets each as the Black Caps claimed their biggest ever win in T20s and the 3rd largest overall. Former regional umpire Clyde Cumberbatch has died. The Dominican umpire in 12 test matches involving the West Indies between 1981 and 1995 and ODIs between 1984 and 1997. He also served as chairman of the West Indies Umpires Training and Examination Committee. Cricket West Indies said in a statement that the region has lost a truly knowledgeable gentleman who stood out from the crowd, not only because of his knowledge, but also because of his stature and personality. And tributes have been pouring in for Cumberbatch from Trinidad and Tobago. TV6's Vinod Nawani spoke with some of his colleagues who had fond memories of the late umpire.
Continue to pour in for former international umpire Clyde Cumberbatch, who passed away on Saturday at the age of 81. Former TNT captain Suraj Raghunath was playing the game while Cumberbatch was still officiating, and he had good things to say about the tall umpire.
Clyde Cumberbatch was someone that we all loved very much. He was very much a stern umpire. He knew the game very well, a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge, and he would have also been responsible for tutoring other younger umpires. So he would have been a role model to members of the umpiring fraternity.
Also in action was Tony Gray, while Cumberbatch would raise the dreaded finger to send batsmen packing. And the former Windies pacer described Cumberbatch as a lovely individual.
Mr. Cumberbatch has made an indelible contribution to cricket in general, not just local cricket but international cricket. And after he retired, obviously he contributed in educating the officials throughout the region. It's a big loss for not just local cricket but regional cricket because he has done so much for our young cricketers, especially in the older guys who were officiating part of it.
Not only players, but cricket analysts too had their moments with the umpire. As such, local commentator Colin Murray looked back at the positive contributions made by Cumberbatch.
I think he was a very honest individual. He called it as he saw it. He was a very statesmanly type of umpire. He was always particular with how he dressed and how he looked and how he carried himself. I always found him very fair, very honest individual. And as I said, if it's one thing with him, he called it as how he sees it. He saw it.
Cumberbatch officiated in 12 test matches and 26 one-day internationals. His funeral takes place on Friday.
Well, there was another outstanding spell from medium pacer Dwayne Bravo helped Melbourne Renegades to their third win in the Australian Big Bash when they comfortably brushed aside Sydney Sixers by 6 wickets on Wednesday. Playing at the Simmons Stadium, Renegades restricted Sixers to 111 for 8 of their 20 overs, with South African Johan Botha top scoring with an unbeaten 32 off 23 deliveries. Bravo was at the forefront of the attack, claiming 3 for 29 from his 4 overs to cripple the Sixers' innings. He was also sharp in the field, running out Nick Maddinson with a direct hit from short third man in the 13th over before returning towards the end of the innings to collect another brace of wickets. In reply, Renegades sped to their target in the 16th over with captain Aaron Finch striking 51 and Cameron White an unbeaten 49. And that's the sport. Stay with us. We will be right back.
Caribbean Newsline is brought to you by the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc.
Barbados, renowned for its pristine beachfront and fantastic weather, continues to leave quite an impression on newcomers to the island and returning visitors. The Caribbean island, quite popular as a vacation hotspot, is not only beautiful due to its natural aesthetics. The island of Barbados continues to grow in popularity because of unique connections developed with our people, our culture. We can't wait to welcome you.
Again, the major developments of this day: St. Vincent and the Grenadines government defends its decision to withdraw its job offer to the wife of local diplomat who was at the center of a domestic violence incident. And in sport, West Indies plummet to a heavy 119-run defeat in the third and final T20 International to surrender the series to New Zealand. That's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sport around the clock, log on to CarnaNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching. Good night.